Hey everybody, it's Mr. Nightspyder here, and today I wanted to take some time to talk about some frames I've had for a while. The Kizer Slimline 2 frames. I have some thoughts. So I got these frames maybe a little over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I had knee surgery, and then after I recovered, I decided I wanted to get back into rollerblading since it's been a hot topic here. And I ordered them a year after I started rollerblading for one of my birthdays. I can't remember. So I was fairly beginnerish all over again. So I gave these a shot, didn't like them, and I've improved over some time over the last few years, and I tried them again, and I still don't like them. And I'm going to kind of break down why. Let's start with the good, all right? So these are surprisingly light. I like how light they are. When I put them on a set of rollerblades, Genesis, those are the real ones I have. You notice the difference in weight overall. So these are lighter frames. I like the way they look. They look very cool. But that's kind of where it ends. So they have this rocker system here, and you can see how it goes, where you could notch it down or notch it up. When you notch it up, I've noticed you're limited to 56 millimeter. I put 57 millimeters in to see how that would work, and it starts hitting these walls right here, which is unfortunate because you don't have that same limitation in the front portion here, but you get it there. So that's a bummer. That right away kind of bummed me out because, in my opinion, I'm no professional, but if you have it, just like a sports car, right? If you have a lower profile, you get more stability and more control, right? But unfortunately, you have to rocker them down. It will not allow it to go up. So I did that, and I thought, okay, well, we'll see what this groove is big enough. It's significant, right? I'm not going to get to the measurements, but it's the fattest groove of any frame that I own, right? For comparison, this is the Them Street frame, right? Haven't even used it. They're okay frames. They're good, but they don't really work well for me. But if you were to compare the groove, huge difference, right? So there's a significant difference there, and if you were to do a side by side of the screw placement, you could see significant. One thing I noticed right off the gate, and this is the second time attempting these, right? Keep that in mind. And I feel I've gotten a little bit more, I would say I'm still like beginner level, but more stable, more competent. The split actually is frustrating for me in the sense of navigating. I like my wheel set all flat. And you can see there's some consistency with the distance there. But the split makes it still feel like you have like an anti-rocker train track feeling. You still don't have the same maneuverability and mobility you would have if you had all flat on a frame like this. It still feels like you're kind of trucking around, locking into position, and kind of rolling. Not to the same extreme, but it has that. I got used to it, but it still has that anti-rocker feel, even if you're riding flat. That's the first thing I didn't like. The second thing I did not like is when you are when you're doing a grind. Like let's do a full grind, for example, right? Typically on some frames, here I'm going to use my tripod as a test thing. Typically on some of these frames, if you lock in with the boot as kind of a guide, and then the frame, and you just slide, right? Even though this is wider, it goes lower, and the wheels tend to hit. it feels like you're kind of sliding all over the place while you're trying to find placement on the boot, which I did not like. Additionally, if you're doing like most of what I skate is skate parks, right? So if you're like, I think these are real good if you're doing just rails, but if you're doing like boxes or coping that they have on boxes, what ends up happening is when you try to get on top of the box, the wheels will hit, because again, you have to rocker them down if you're doing anything above 56 millimeter, so your wheels are going to hit. So I find myself in this weird position where typically when you get on top of full grind, you kind of get on top of it, right? You have to put the front foot at this weird angle so your wheels don't hit, and it feels like constantly like you're about to jump off because of that angle. If I try to get right on top of it, the wheels are just hitting and scratching. And I apologize. Normally I would have some video, the less 10-15 seconds, but I wasn't prepared that day. And I unfortunately, I don't want to put these back on and give it another go just for footage. They don't work for me whatsoever. Another thing I did not like is, in some cases, when you're doing mini ramps or vert ramps or whatever you want to call them, nobody really does vert, but you know what I'm saying. When you are kind of stalling, it feels like you're sliding all over the place. It's not like a solid, I'm stalling here, get your balance, go back down. It's like you're literally just teeter-tottering once you stall, which I didn't like that feeling. So these frames are probably really good for anti-rocker, even though they're like, it looks like they should be able to accommodate large wheel sizes, and it also seems like it'd be good for riding flat, but they'll probably be better for anti-rocker, kind of like a in between anti-rocker and freestylish type of vibe. But for riding flat, these are actually really terrible for riding flat. So that has been my thoughts on the Kizer Slimline 2. I'm probably just gonna sell these. I've rode them probably 3-4 times at the most, and each time has been just frustrating. So thank you for watching. This has been the Nightspyder Collector doing a rollerblading hardware segment. Like, comment, share, and tell me what you think of the Kizer Slimline 2. They slide fast. I didn't mention that. They slide well. But that's it. Doesn't work for flat. I ride flat.